Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning.
All right. I hope you guys are doing extremely well. You survived. You made it to the last day of NRF. Great job. I hope that we have saved the best for last with this presentation. My name is Shash Anand. I'm the Senior Vice President of Product Strategy at SOTI. And with me is Scott Gehrke.
I'm Scott Gehrke, the Director of IT at Radial Global 3PL.
Yes, and we wanted to share an amazing story of Radial, the third-party logistics organization, and how they're leveraging the SOTI One platform in order to not only streamline their IT department and managing mobile devices, but also using the SOTI One platform to streamline their mobile operations for their frontline workers as well. So, Scott, welcome aboard. Let's grab a seat, maybe. All right. Ooh, look at that. I like the socks. Great job with the SOTI socks. He's got SOTI socks on.
I thought you'd like that for sure.
So, Scott, how many of you guys have heard of Radial before?
See a couple. There you go.
All right. So maybe, Scott, we can start with a quick overview of who is Radial and what are you guys doing at a retail show like NRF?
Yeah, it's a little unique, right? So Radial, a 3PL partner, we're one of the largest in the Northwest, in North America, really. We've got over 20 fulfillment centers, really omni-channel solution. We're part of the B-Post, Belgium Post umbrella. There's 31 different labels in that umbrella. But here, primarily, what I'm in charge of is really just e-commerce, tech, fulfillment.
Okay, so you guys have retail clients that are using you as they kind of outsource their entire logistics from an e-commerce perspective to you guys to help fulfill all the orders?
Right. So like retailers come to us to fulfill their customers' orders, right?
Got it.
We house their product across all of our fulfillment centers.
Okay, and who are some of these retailers?
You probably recognize some of these names. I mean, there's probably 100 of them, but just to touch on a couple.
Yeah.
You've got, Away, Gymshark, Zara. I mean, there's a large number of clients.
Yeah, I definitely know the children's place, Gymshark and Away.
Fox is another good one for us, yep.
Wonderful, okay. And how many of you guys know a little bit about SOTI? There's a few of you. Okay, okay, I see a few nodding their heads no. So let me just give you guys a quick overview of who SOTI is. SOTI is a software solution. We've been around since 1995. We have over 17,000 enterprise customers around the world. And they're primarily in retail, transportation and logistics, manufacturing, and warehousing. And what we offer is something called the SOTI One platform. And it is designed to really help IT and operations streamline their entire business. It starts with the mobile devices themselves. We have something called SOTI Mobi Control. This is your mission-critical control center to help you manage all your different mobile devices under a single pane of glass. What that means is I can now, from an IT perspective, see all of my iOS, Android, Windows, Linux, Chrome, Mac OS, all the different devices that you may be using. How do I get and update them all from a firmware perspective, from an application perspective, networking? I want to be able to deploy certificates, and I want to do this all automatically. I don't need to, so what we do is we help you set up and streamline these entire devices. Once you have that full control of a mobile device, now it's about the operations side and what are the challenges around what we call diagnostic intelligence. So this is the idea that I can offer advanced diagnostics. When something goes wrong with that device, how do you perform and remotely control that device? Help users in real time see the device. And I want to use things like ServiceNow, which is an incident management solution. How do I remote in and maybe grab log files from the device, screenshots, record videos?
If I could, it's all about visibility, right?
It's all about visibility, you got it. So getting real-time visibility into the devices and how they're being used and trying to offer first call resolution. The intelligence is referring to operational intelligence. So how do I get data, historical data, and see trends of what's been going on with my devices from a utilization perspective, app utilization, network utilization, data utilization, and then how can I predict future behavior? So that's kind of where the operational intelligence comes in.
I was going to say productivity, potentially.
Exactly, you got it. And then as companies are using these mobile devices, they may find things that are inefficient, right? And maybe I want to be able to look at what are my manual processes? How can I improve them or automate them? Maybe I've got paper-based processes. So with SOTI Snap, I can actually digitize those processes in literally a matter of a few minutes. Build apps in a few minutes, not months, but actual minutes. It's a drag and drop type experience. As we also uncovered, there's a lot of other types of devices that organizations use, such as printers. If printers aren't printing labels or they're not printing receipts, how do you're not shipping your actual products out the gate. So with printer management, they become very mission critical to an organization, and they also have firmware, they also have security, they have Wi-Fi certificates. They also need that real-time visibility to see how they're being utilized as well. And finally, we've got SOTI Identity. Of course, security has to be central to any solution that you offer. We have our own identity access management solution, so you need the right users to be able to use the right applications at the right time. This is offering single sign-on, multi-factor authentication. And SOTI Pulse is our community. So what does that mean? It means our customers, our partners can learn from SOTI employees. It's a discussion forum, it's a marketplace.
If I could, it's a great resource for especially partners of yours.
Yeah.
Questions.
Yep.
There's a huge community down there that just jump right in.
Yeah, so you can learn about the latest and greatest tech and also ask questions to get help. It's got our online help in there as well. So that's the SOTI One platform in a nutshell. But Scott, why don't we actually go in and dive into kind of, you were able to give us an opportunity to actually come on site. And that's one of the things that I love about my role is I get to come on site and learn about how do these organizations actually operate? How are they using these mobile devices in their operations? And Scott was nice enough to actually let us record. So maybe you can walk us through a little bit about how this works?
Yeah, absolutely. We were excited to have you come on site and see our business. A lot of our partners maybe don't have experience in the 3PL world.
Right,
so,
yeah.
To be able to share that with you is great.
Yeah.
On a high level, right, we pick, pack, and ship, right? We put away the product from the clients, we pick them for their customers, we pack them and ship them for their customers. It's a pretty straightforward thing. It's like the 4 pillars, as we call it.
Yep.
But doing that, realistically, it's all about getting that done as effectively and efficiently as possible. And it requires a lot of devices, a lot of people, and with that, the management of all those devices.
Right, exactly. So you guys are using mobile devices from the moment the pallets kind of come into the trucks. You've got to scan those, label those boxes, put them in, put them away, and then you got to be able to pack these items in real time, right?
100%, yeah. And we have different requirements from different partners of ours, different customers.
Yeah.
There might be like value-added services that they ask us to do.
Right, yeah.
So we jump into those.
I love that part. One question that I have for you, Scott, right off the bat is, you guys have really, I've seen kind of the ability to adapt and scale because you have so many different clients. How do you guys actually go about adapting and scaling to the changes that they're constantly demanding on you on a regular basis?
I mean, really, it just comes down to the client demand, right?
Yeah.
Our retailers come to us and they say, Scott, we want an East Coast node, a West Coast node. We have to be able to adapt. It could be somebody who ships 100,000 units a year or 10 million units a year, right?
Right.
So we got to be able to scale our sites to that demand of the clientele. And here I call this. It's a belovedly called Cardboard City, but really it's about scalability, right?
Scalability, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, what was life like? I want to understand kind of before you were using SOTI, just to kind of get everybody a little bit of context. You probably were using some type of management solution. You probably were doing things maybe manual, I'm not sure, but could you talk us through a little bit about what was life like before you were using SOTI?
Yeah, I've been doing this for 15 years with Radial, and we've gone through probably 20 different iterations of device management.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you go all the way back to like library card style check-in, check-out to internal access databases, It was complicated, right? And every one of our different nodes might have had an old legacy system that we had to try to, figure out how are we doing this, right? Where's the accountability?
Device accountability?
Yeah, device accountability was critical, right? Who has the devices? Where are they? We get, again, requests from clients to be in a certain part of, North America.
Yep.
We may have to ship 1,000 devices somewhere, right?
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's not easy to do. The other issue really was like, we had no visibility, right?
No visibility into what? What do you mean by that?
When the devices were on the floor, we didn't know where they were.
Ah, okay. So you
And
cannot see, obviously, because you're not physically there on
Not
site.
there, right?
Okay.
Right. And then it actually comes back to accountability, right? So you check in, check out the device, but what is it doing during the day? Right?
Okay.
And how many maybe don't get returned? That's a big cost. It was a big pain in the head. So,
Scott, you're also, just to clear up, so when you're grabbing these, so these are people that are on shift work, right?
100%, yeah.
They're working
Multiple
24/7.
shifts. You're talking 3 shifts, front week, back week.
Okay.
3 different shifts. I mean, it's complicated.
And they don't take these devices home. You keep them all, and then they check them out, check them in.
And we
that's
need to
it,
make
yeah.
sure that they're ready for the next shift, right?
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Another kind of headache for us really was update management. So,
Updating of what?
So you've got the OS, right? You've got that. You've got applications on there,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
And then we have like requirements from our clients. Maybe they have a specific B2B or some sort of retail app that they want on there for relabeling prices or something, right?
Okay.
It was complicated. It used to take us. I mean, we'd have to schedule downtime for
Sure.
weeks in advance.
Yep.
An 8-hour maintenance window, and then schedule that across all different 20 plus nodes. I mean, it could take us weeks to get it completed.
Weeks to update your devices.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Complicated.
That's pretty challenging, and I guess that kind of ties in with speed to market, right?
Yeah. I mean, and nobody wants to hear, hey, we're in the middle of a maintenance window. It's going to take us, 8 hours or a week to get to your site. Like, no one wants to hear that.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I mean, taking weeks to kind of do an update is a challenge, because what if something happens in between? Now you're reluctant to kind of go ahead and do those.
You're also
updates.
competing with other projects, right? I mean, I did 165 different projects and implementations last year.
Got
we
it.
onboarded 31 clients last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's difficult to sit there and manage
Yeah.
the implementations, the internal projects, and then device updates. It's complicated.
And then what's the challenge with communication? What was that about?
I think that's one that probably everybody in this room can understand.
Okay.
When you're onboarding 10,000 plus employees, right, who don't speak maybe the same language, training can be an absolute complication. It's tough, very, very tough. So, we had some real communication breakdowns. Unfortunately, I speak Spanish. Hablo español en mi casa cada día, señor. But I do not speak French Creole, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's complicated for me to help train people in multiple languages across multiple devices.
Yeah. And I think you're also saying communication in the sense that you guys hire quite a bit during peak season.
Absolutely.
And so you need to also train the staff and make sure they know how to do things pretty quickly, right?
And it's costly, right? I mean,
it's
you have
costly.
to onboard people, and sometimes that onboarding can take, a week, and you don't want to take that time, right?
Right.
You want to make sure that they're able to sit there and get up to speed as quick as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we understand some of the challenges that you had. Now, how did you discover SOTI?
That's a good one. Oh, that's a good question. All right. So we actually review our hardware and software every year.
Every year?
Every year, yeah. We're constantly looking for opportunities. We're constantly evaluating different partners. We want to make sure that we're the most effective and efficient that we can be. In the 3PL business, it's competitive, right? That said, I want to say 4 years ago, we were, looking at SOTI, and you guys were really close to hitting a lot of those pain points that we wanted.
Okay.
Where I landed with you was 3 years ago, actually, at another conference, Modex in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And I was slated to be there for maybe like a 30-minute window to do like a little, brief, show and tell. And when I started seeing that you guys were hitting the things that I wanted, I was there for an hour and a half. Yeah, you guys are probably sick of me. And I was like, wait, hang on. What else can we do this? How do we do this, right?
I think I remember you were asking a ton of questions around how do we do this and how do we do that. So
100%.
that's great. Great insight. And okay, so let's talk a little bit about now these solutions that you're using. So, and how have we addressed some of these pain points that you've been having? Let's talk a little bit about that update management that you said that was taking weeks, right?
Yeah, and all this really comes down to device management.
Okay.
But if you break it down into different segments, you can got to get a clear picture. So when it comes to updating and that sort of stuff, really what was hitting home for us was Mobi Control.
Mobi Control, yeah.
It's a WYSIWYG, drag and drop. I can manage devices across 20 plus fulfillment centers by simply moving them around. And then we also had like the ability to put in transfer rules. So if a device was shipped between a site, it automatically recognized it needed to be updated on the configuration. And it took on the new applications and configurations specific to that location. Right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was
so
great.
everything's automatic. You don't really need it. You didn't really need to do anything other than drag and drop the device from one place to the other.
And really, in most cases, we don't have to. We do that in specific cases if we wanted to test things out.
Right.
Typically, the transfer rule does it automatically.
Okay, very cool. So a lot of nice automation for you there. That's wonderful. So you're leveraging SOTI Mobi Control. You're looking at that device. They're all fully up to date now. But one of the next challenges you said was around this idea from the operational side around device accountability. So what were you looking at there for? What kind of solution did you have there?
This one is my bread and butter. I'm really a big fan of this one. All right.
Yeah.
So we had an issue, and I had mentioned before we had tons of different siloed solutions for checking devices in and out. We came to the.
What did you try?
Well, I could give a little bit of background. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said before, right? We did like the old school, cards.
Yeah.
You had one in like almost like a library card.
You also looked at like physical lockers and smart lockers.
Yeah. So we've spent a ton of money on things like that. And I kind of went to the Snap team and I was like, look, love the physical locker thing. It's COVID at the time. We don't want to be doing, long lines of people checking in and out. How can we virtualize a locker? And the Snap team was like...
So you asked the SOTI Snap team, can you guys help us build a virtual locker?
Exactly. And it allowed us to basically have devices across multiple locations in the building by department, thousands of them across multiple sites that were basically sitting there ready to go. All somebody has to do is walk up, scan their badge, scan the location they're checking the device out of, and now it's assigned to them. And now we have real-time accountability to who is using that device in the moment.
At any point in time. So I think what I liked about this that you did is as soon as kind of the devices are docked, the only thing you could do with that device is actually just scan a user.
That's it.
You've enforced a bit of an operational process, right?
Two scans, simplified the process. Operations loves it. I love it because I have accountability. It's great.
Got it. So now you know exactly where every device is, who signed it out, where did they check it out from. You know the inventory in that location.
100%. And so does operations. So
operations.
I'm in tech, right?
Right.
But when I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call during peak, right?
Yeah.
And peak's like, they're like, hey, it's peak season. It's Cyber Monday, Black Friday. Retailers understand that. I need 150 devices. And I'm like, you have 450 devices available. What are you talking about?
Right.
So this actually gives them visibility right into their hardware.
Amazing. Okay, wonderful. So now you've leveraged SOTI Mobi Control, you leveraged SOTI Snap for the device accountability. What about real-time visibility? You said you don't have this way to kind of know what's happening in the operational side of the warehouse or the retail stores.
Yeah, I mean this was a game changer for us as well. I'm able to sit there with operations, dial into any one of our fulfillment centers, and actually share with them the status live of a device. So you're looking at battery health, wireless connectivity. You could go back in time.
Back in time.
Yeah, you could literally go back in time. And we provided these to our operational team leaders.
Okay.
I mean, you'll see here, this is actually Allentown, Pennsylvania. You'll see Omar Pacheco, one of our team leaders, his eyes just like get huge when we were rolling this out, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's great. And then And then we wanted to kind of take it to the next level. Okay, I like the device accountability, but how do I see individual employee productivity on this now?
Employee productivity.
That was the next thing we challenged the Snap team with.
Okay, got it.
Look, we like the device info.
Yep.
How can I tie this into, the Snowflake out there, right? The backend DB that's housing our data.
Okay.
And how can I tie that device to a name and then show their productivity over time?
Interesting. So you're saying that you've been using the devices for, yes, you can look at Wi-Fi signal, you can look at heat maps, address any other kind of device problems, but interestingly, you talk about this idea of also measuring performance of the users that are using the device by extracting data from databases and other systems.
Yeah, I mean, the APIs and how they connect with us, it's great. I mean, imagine this, right? You're on the floor, and instead of running reports and seeing who's maybe slow or not slow or producing or overproducing, you could just look at a screen. And it gives you color-coded location of the individual who's doing the pick, pack, and ship, and gives them their productivity right then and there.
So you call that, I think, units per hour, right?
Yeah, UPH is what we call it in the 3PL field. Okay. We want to make sure that they're hitting a certain SLA. It also matches the SLA that we have with our partners, retailers.
Got it. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so that's a little bit of SOTI Excite and your ability to see live, real time, what's going on. He mentioned you can also go back in time. You can generate like heat maps, a Wi-Fi heat map if you're looking at networking problems and things like that. So that was real-time visibility. The last one I remember you said is communication. Now I know that SOTI doesn't allow you to communicate or change communication systems. So what do you mean by this one?
But I think that's really not the case. I think you guys do enable us to communicate better.
Oh, okay. How do we do that?
We were challenged from our HR team. They kept getting requests for translation devices. And I don't want to manage translation devices. I've got
a separate device?
Like a separate device. I've had 6,000 devices out there on the floor. How can we implement and leverage those same devices to enable our employees, our customers, to communicate better, right? So we ended up leveraging Google API, their translation app.
Okay.
And we got 120 different dialects put on there.
Wow.
We're at peak, we've got up to 16,000 employees, right?
Okay.
And you want to be able to sit there and communicate, again, with anybody that you possibly can.
Yep.
And language can be a barrier sometimes.
Interesting, yeah.
Some of this is an augmented workforce, maybe not a full-time employee, a contractor that you brought in, and you don't speak their language. Well, how do you do that, right? So we ended up reaching out to you guys and to Google and came up with this solution where we are now able to communicate across 120 different dialects. We pushed this out, I think it was the request took 6 days. We were able to get this on every single device in 6 days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
To all your 6,000 devices.
All 6,000 devices,
warehouses.
yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. So I want to pick up on that units per hour. So you and I, we went in and we said, you know what, we could do a good job with these units per hour. So can you, Scott and I went head to head, by the way, because I think I can beat him in kind of performing some of these tasks.
We're kind of competitive.
A little competitive. So I had to, by the way, I'm playing this video, but I had to slow down the video to put it a bit in slow motion so you could see what I was doing.
That's a lie.
No, I'm just kidding. Now, Scott, can you explain a little bit of what are we doing here?
So what you're looking at here is in the 3PL world, this is a PTL system. So batch jobs come down after being picked. They run through the conveyor.
Look how fast I was.
They come down to a local location where they're actually being separated out to individual customer orders, right?
Okay.
And that's what we're doing here. We're doing the PTL system. The screen's telling us where to put the product for each individual of our clients' customers. And
all right, Scott beat me there.
I might have beat my UPH was a little bit higher than his.
That's his touchdown dance there.
Yeah. That said, the ladies that were working right next to us were laughing at us because they literally tripled our rate.
Yeah, they're pretty fast. We saw them go in action.
It was fun to do, and I'm happy that you got to experience it.
No, thanks, Scott. So let's talk a little bit about where else. the SOTI One platform also has other capabilities. When we were walking around, we actually also talked a little bit about those printers, right? And we noticed that you're using a ton of printers throughout your facilities. What are those printers being used for? And can you kind of share with the audience a little bit of, the cost of a bad printer? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, we've got twice as many printers as we do mobile devices.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like probably 12 to 14K
Wow.
devices. And to manage all those printers, Zebra does a good job, but it's complicated. Every printer needs to be doing something different.
Right.
It can become costly. If you have a bad printer and you're shipping out, I mean, we're doing millions of units a day, right? Millions of shipping labels, right? If you have a bad printer and those print jobs get slapped on a box,
Yeah.
and they're constantly getting rejected from a sorter or a conveyor, it's incredibly costly to us. We have to retouch that gear, right?
Yeah.
We have to reprint it, or if it doesn't get caught and it gets on the back of a courier partner of ours,
Right.
we get penalized. Like there's an SLA, right?
So you can't meet your SLAs because
We can't meet the customer SLAs. Scott Gehrke's not getting his Hey Dude tennis shoes, right? He's a little upset about that. But then more importantly, we're getting double billed back because we're missing the SLA for our partner, and we're getting billed back by the courier. So it's incredibly critical that these print jobs are effective.
And so what else do you get with the idea of using SOTI Connect? Is it the idea of visibility? Is that what's important to you, the upgradability?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our clients, again, right, we want to be dynamic. And there might be a request to stand up 150 pack stations because they've got a huge pop-up that they're doing for, summer sale or some random event. And we have to maybe ship devices around, right? That configuration typically was very manual. We'd have to go in, recalibrate the device. I mean, it was just a pain in the butt. Now with SOTI Connect and what we're doing a POC right now, as the printer gets moved from location to location, it gets a new IP address, it automatically recognizes what building it's supposed to be in, and it changes its configuration for us.
Wow.
Less touches, it's automated, simplifies my life.
Yeah, the other big thing about these printers is normally when you want to configure them, as Scott mentioned, you got to go one by one onto each printer and set it all up individually, or go to every single warehouse.
Very timely.
It's very timely. What we also offer is the ability to schedule your firmware updates, your Wi-Fi certificate pushes. You get visibility when printers run out of paper, or if there's a problem with the printhead, if it's a label printer. So that type of visibility is really kind of helps you cut that cost down. So the cost is not just the cost of the printer, it's really the total cost of ownership.
It's about being proactive.
It's about being proactive.
We don't want to be reactive and find out that there's an issue at a station and it's not working and producing for us. We want to see it live and see that there's an issue. And we want to address it before it even, becomes a productivity problem. We see issues all the time.
Right.
Operations doesn't want to see issues, right?
Yeah.
It's my job in IT to make sure that that does not affect productivity. I may see, not just printers, but I'm looking at like time clocks, access points, cameras. I want to see it all. And I want to make sure all of those different facets of the operation are working. And if it goes down, I'm not waiting for someone to tell me now.
You want to know beforehand.
We're knowing beforehand.
Yeah, you get the visibility. Gotcha. So, Scott, thank you so much for providing some of this amazing insight. I think what I loved about when I went on site is just the love between IT and operations, and how they felt like you were giving them gifts with solutions that they would just be really excited to embrace and help them out.
It's really all about enhancing operations, right? To be more efficient, more effective. How do you cut down on costs from an IT perspective? It's about being quick, right? Speed to market, getting out of the operations way, ensuring that they're being productive, and making sure that everything is functioning 100%. And that's where we partnered well on.
Wonderful. If you guys have any questions, we're here for a couple of minutes, but otherwise we're heading back to booth 5421, where you can kind of see a live demonstration of our solutions. Otherwise, thank you guys all very, very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.